would like to give a thanks to the patron Zombie Fox. Shashamga, my fellow comrades. Today, we will be talking about C-pop and how the evil, capitalist, imperialist West is demonizing our pop music by making it look like propaganda in order to destabilize Chinese society or make us look like an authoritarian regime so they can discourage their citizens from seeing the true paradise that is the People's Republic of China. Alright, that should be enough dick-sucking to the Chinese government to get them off my back anymore, and I'm honestly afraid I'll turn into LeBron James or John Cena, or end up in a Chinese prison camp. Alright, with that out of the way, how do you do, my fellow N-words, or should I say Shashamga, my fellow N-words, because today we are going to be talking about the Chinese version of K-pop, that being C-pop. Now, let me just get this out of the way before we continue any further. No, we are not going to be talking about the stands of C-pop, despite the fact that it has been known for many years that China has many stands in its country. For God's sakes, I mean, just look at how much they stand this man. He's on historic sites, government buildings, schools, private homes. People in China stand him so much to the point where he's even on their currency. Kind of reminds me of those stands in North Korea. But anyways, we're not going to be talking about the C-pop stands, because unlike K-pop, the stands aren't the problem. When it comes to C-pop, the music is the problem. Specifically, a certain genre of C-pop music, that being propaganda, made by the Chinese government. And we're going to be taking a look at some of these propaganda songs made by the Chinese government. But before we do take a look at some of these songs, you're probably wondering why the Chinese government makes propaganda pop songs. Now, the reason why the Chinese government makes propaganda pop music is because they want to influence Westerners into thinking that China is this wonderful, amazing place that you should come to that's superior to all other nations, and that there totally isn't any concentration camps in China. In fact, China has increased spending to 500% in order to influence Westerners, and even with that increase in spending, they are doing an awful job at trying to influence the West. And honestly, the propaganda they have made just shows me that the C in China just stands for cringe. These music videos are just awful, and they aren't just using music to try and influence Westerners. They are trying a whole bunch of other ways to influence Westerners, which I'm not going to get into. But if you want to check out the other ways China is trying to influence Westerners, I'll leave a link in the description to a video by Ordinary Things that has a segment where he talks about other ways China is trying to influence Westerners. But watch it after this video. Alright, don't fucking click off. Anyways, you'll find these music videos typically on Western social media sites such as YouTube, which adds to the fact these are only made for Westerners because a lot of Western social media sites are banned in China, especially YouTube. That one has been banned in China for a while now. So how in the world are people in China supposed to view these videos if they're typically posted on Western social media sites? Just seems a little strange to me, don't you think? Now, when it comes to YouTube, these songs are posted on channels made by the Chinese government, and they typically have a lot of dislikes due to them just being bad. In fact, sometimes they are so bad and have a shitload of dislikes to the point where these channels go the route of the Chinese education system when what happened in Tiananmen Square in 1989 or when Mao did bad things is brought up. They are deleted. Thankfully, people downloaded these videos and re-uploaded them to YouTube so we can all witness these fuck-ups made by China. Now, I'm pretty sure people don't have to worry about a copyright strike from the Chinese government due to it being made by China, a country with a communist government, so it's our music.
I am Shashamga from what?
Alright, so the first song we're going to be looking at is the Belt and Road Sing-Along, which is about the Belt and Road Initiative, as the name suggests. And if you don't know what the Belt and Road Initiative is, it's China's plan to connect Asia, Africa, and Europe via land and maritime networks in order to improve regional integration, increase trade, and stimulate economic growth. It's basically just China's attempt to revive the Silk Road in a way. And no, I'm not talking about the fun Silk Road, I'm talking about the Han Dynasty Silk Road. Road. Although I wish that one was still around so I can have something to get me through this. So to summarize, the Chinese government is basically getting a bunch of people to sing about a government policy for trade. For people in the West, that would be like if Teddy Roosevelt got a bunch of people to sing about the Panama Canal, or if the King of England got a bunch of people to sing about the Suez. And hey, maybe we will hear them sing about a canal, because in the Belt and Road Initiative, the Chinese government are building a canal in the Balkans so they can avoid Turkey.
Kimmy, ever heard of the Belt and Road?
Yeah, the big vision of economy.
Okay, I know going into this that this is propaganda, but even this answer is it just seems like very propaganda-esque. Like, the person who wrote this is trying to make it sound like this great thing, but then again, this is an authoritarian regime. Of course they want people to think that their country's a great place, and that this policy is a great thing.
No, what exactly there? No, what exactly there?
You want to run that by me again?
Alright, clearly the person who had to translate the lyrics of the song did not get paid enough. Like, you think the country with the largest population in the world would have somebody that can translate better than the person who did this?
The belt is along the Old Silk Road, and the road is the Silk Road on the sea.
What? Wouldn't it make more sense to say the road is along the Old Silk Road and the belt is the silk on the sea? That just seems very weird that they worded it like that. But then again, judging by whoever they got to translate the lyrics to English, I'm not surprised that they also probably didn't pay the writer enough to do a good job. Or they probably didn't get a good writer at all. What the fuck is that beat? That is the worst beat to use in a song ever. Like, why out of every other beat you could possibly choose, you'd choose this?
Oh, I see. In Chinese,
That's just, that sounds so bad. Like, is that supposed to be clapping? Or the sound of Spider-Man getting slapped on the ass? Actually, wait, no, Spider-Man getting slapped on the ass would be better than whatever the hell they used for this. Probably should have mentioned this earlier, but Yi Dai Yi Lu is just how you say the Belt and Road Initiative in Chinese. I'm already fucking cringing. Wow, imagine being an American and choosing to work for the Chinese government. A government that is currently committing genocide on Uyghurs and putting them in concentration camps. I'm willing to bet that either A, this person knew what they were doing and knew who they were working for and didn't care, or B, they don't know what's going on in China at all. Honestly, to whoever did this, you should be ashamed of yourself. Wow, really had some creative lyrics right there. Totally aren't shit at all. Cause yeah, in any song I like to listen to, I like to hear about shipping speeds. I wish Amazon would make a song about 2-day shipping with Amazon Prime, because that would be my fucking jam, cause I love hearing about shipping in a song. My god, these lyrics fucking suck. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'd rather look at Rule 34 of the one ship that got stuck in the Suez Canal than watch this ship in the Suez Canal, because it would be better than watching this. Why in the hell does this guy sound so happy to sing a song about a government policy? Actually, wait a minute, they're probably holding his family hostage, and he has to sound this excited. That's probably it, because nobody would willingly do this and be happy. These songs honestly sound like something a student would write for an economic or government class for a project. Like, they're that fucking bad. What does footage of random people dancing have to do with the Belt and Road? Like, nobody's so grateful for it to the point where they're dancing in the street. Guys, I can't believe I'm saying this, but somehow China was able to create worse dance moves than the ones in Fortnite. I have no other words. That's just all I can say about these dance moves. Why in the world are they having people sing and dance in countries that aren't even a part of the Belt and Road Initiative? I thought this song was about the Belt and Road Initiative. Oh wait, I know what the Chinese government is trying to do. They're trying to make it look like people in rival countries think that this is a great policy. However, it doesn't do anything for us. And most people in Western countries probably don't even know what the Belt and Road Initiative is, or really care about it.
斯坦，一带一路来到普特朗，蓦然没电，战斯里兰卡人不再担心高昂的电费单。
Here we can see the Chinese government trying to make people who live in countries that are participating in the Belt and Road Initiative think that this will be a great thing for them that will benefit all the people in these countries. However, this manipulation isn't working at all considering the reactions a lot of locals are having because they know their country's gonna get fucked over by China. Because what China likes to do with a lot of countries is they basically build a bunch of infrastructure in the country, lease weapons to the country's military, or do anything at all for the country that they are currently having problems with, to the point where the country can't pay China back at all. And because they can't make up that payment, China likes to basically just take advantage of the country in order to make up for the payment that the country owes. And in the end, it just fucks over the locals.
一带一路路过马来西亚关丹，马来的小伙找到新的工作，终于牵手心中另一半。
And ties the knot with his love. What the fuck? Like, who the fuck wrote these lyrics seriously? I'm pretty sure someone who survived being shot in the head would be able to write better lyrics than this. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see here, we have a man in a panda costume moving around in a delusional state because the panda costume is preventing him from getting enough oxygen to the brain. Why the hell did they just have these random flashing colors? Like, that's just such a random edit to have in this. Wow, I'm not surprised China's working with another authoritarian dictatorship, considering China's the only reason North Korea even fucking exists in the modern day still. Wow, Belarus has the China-Belarus Industrial Park? Move over, Eiffel Tower, Big Ben, and Roman Colosseum. You ain't exciting at all to go visit while in Europe compared to the China-Belarus Industrial Park. Because the way this song is making it sound is that it's the fucking shit to visit in Europe. Man, I should really visit this place in Belarus before I get beaten by the police in Belarus for participating in a protest against Lukashenko.
来自这里的工人日夜忙碌，造出的公路连接到了中国到白俄罗斯的丝绸之路，丝绸之路，共同利益，共同责任，共同命运。基金精准银行要投行，丝路基金精准银行要投行，丝路基金精准银行要投行。
Remember guys, this was made by a government, meaning tax dollars were wasted on this shit.
Extensive consultation, joint contribution, and shared benefits.
Wow, for the ending, they really didn't give any effort to that at all. Like, what the hell was that? They sounded incredibly depressed. Then again, I would be incredibly depressed after having to participate in this shit. Alright, and that's the end of the song, and I gotta say, I honestly feel worse than when I was done listening to the call with Chris Chan, admitting that he fucked his mom, and I still have 4 more songs to go. Help me! So the next song we are going to be looking at is a song called No THAAD, which is about THAAD. And if you don't know what THAAD is, it's a missile defense system made by the United States military. And basically, China made a music video as a response to South Korea acquiring THAAD in order to protect itself from North Korea if North Korea chose to use their nukes. So you're probably wondering, why would China be pissed about that? Well, the reason why they're pissed about it is because THAAD has a radar system that could detect Chinese ships. And because of that, China views it as a threat to its strategic and security interests. And because of that, they made a music video. And this one ended up being so bad that it was funny. So let's take a look at this. Show the side that benefits their interests in order to make it look like everyone in Korea doesn't want THAAD, despite the fact that a lot of Koreans, and from what I've seen, it's a majority of Koreans, want THAAD in their country because of the fact they're worried about Kim Ling actually following up on a threat to nuke South Korea. Wow, so this is China's attempt at a BTS clone. Gotta say, it's worse than I expected.
How many times do I had to warn you, my lovely?
Wait a second, what'd they say?
My lovely little neighbor boy.
Okay, so the age of consent in China is 14 years old. Who the fuck did they get to write this song? Fucking Kiwis? Like, why would you ever choose to word a song like that? And yeah, I get South Korea is supposed to be
my lovely little neighbor boy,
but still, it's just very creepy that whoever wrote this worded it like that. Also, pretty disrespectful referring to South Korea as a little boy, if you think about it, because China is basically implying that South Korea can't think for itself and that it also can't determine what it wants for its people and its own interests, and that it'd be better off if Big Brother China just did everything for them. But then again, it's not surprising for China to be disrespectful to other countries. I mean, just look at how their diplomats act.
you know, your big brothers and no.
Wow, China actually thinks that it's South Korea's big brother. Now that's funny, only because it's pathetic that China thinks that.
Trying to avoid the sight of me and they stole a camera in my room.
I find it ironic that the big brother, which is supposed to be China, is bitching about a camera in the room considering the lengths China goes to spy on its own people. Awfully funny coming from the country that's protecting and supporting North Korea, which is basically keeping the two Koreas apart.
I'm spinning over the words you may never heard, and maybe not aim but manifest more about you than less him. There's always something that we want to be running.
How do you do, fellow kids?
Into reverse views about China.
If you want to do that, maybe you shouldn't keep protecting North Korea, you dumb cunt.
We're not a brand new comma, and I mean what I said, and I make that it seems like I never want to be free.
I wonder why.
To me, but some 21st century colonies, some probably committing felony.
Very ironic coming from the country that wants to dominate Asia.
It's enough to make me see what stop. Tell me the why, ain't gonna terminate your prop.
It'll terminate at least one problem.
But I love you, kid. You are getting bread.
The only violence the Chinese government likes is the type of violence they get to commit when one of their citizens has a different opinion. For those who don't know, Mu Yulan is a Chinese model, and basically she didn't support the boycott of South Korea China was doing when it got its THAAD system. And because of that, the government really didn't like that in China. So they decided to insult her in their South Korea diss track. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think I've honestly heard better insults from one of Jake Paul's diss tracks. It's pretty ironic to call somebody that, considering the person who wrote this song thought it would be a good idea to the rest of the song. The rest of it is just a bunch of news clips showing like the THAAD system being put in South Korea. Gotta say, this song was very fucking bad, and I'd honestly rather listen to the part of the Chris Chan documentary where he talked about how Chris decided to cut a hole in his taint because he thought a vagina was growing there. The next song we're going to be looking at is called The Trailblazer. Now, this song was made with the goal of wanting to convince foreigners to move to China, despite the fact that a majority of people that live in China are xenophobic. I mean, just look at what rappers in China that aren't employed by the Chinese government are rapping about. Now, because I'm afraid of losing more brain cells than a lifetime alcoholic by watching these videos, I have decided to get JZWag to help me review this.
What the fuckery duckery dickery do the fuckery what the fuck? I don't really know what else I should say apart from what the fuck. As if K-pop wasn't bad enough, we've now got C-pop. Actually, no, that's quite disrespectful to K-pop. So I'm gonna take the C out of C-pop and put it in front of rap. So now we've got crap.
one. Alright, 3 seconds in and you can already tell that this was not made for people in China. And that's because a lot of people in China are racist towards black people. In fact, racism towards black people in China is so bad that in order to get an audience in China for movies, Disney has to hide black people in movie posters, because if they don't, no one in China will want to see it because there's a black actor in the movie. Why is this music video trying to make it look like China is the only country in the world to have free public education? Because last time I checked, every country in the world has free public education except for colleges. I think they're saying this because it's the only benefit they could think of when it comes to the Chinese education system. I mean, yeah, education is free, however, it's also incredibly strict, and there is a high suicide rate amongst Chinese students. I mean, you know when Chinese education isn't good when the dictator is sending his daughter to an American college.
I don't really get the point that they're trying to bring across, like, yeah, China are advanced, well fucking done, no fucking shit, Sherlock. As if Jake Paul flexing his rented Lamborghinis back in 2016 wasn't cringy enough, we've now got Asia flexing their data network. Let me emphasize that quickly. Their data network! I mean, I don't really know what I'm talking about, really. I do take it all back. This video has really convinced me to move to China so I can get myself some of that sweet, sweet 5G network.
China does have 5G. It appears that they haven't discovered what toothpaste is yet. I mean, just look at how dirty those fucking teeth are. I've seen less yellow in my own piss.
Working so hard, but they keep on hitting. China no extreme poverty.
While China claims it has no poverty, every other economic expert in the world that lives outside of China says otherwise. Also, I highly doubt that the nation with the world's largest population doesn't have anybody in poverty.
Yes, go. People coming to Beijing. This is guy looks gloomy. It better bracing in. The time's moving and clock's ticking. Now have this thing, healthy chains. Welcome to Beijing. Less wishes, no gray. Smoke is cast away. Sun shining, sets are pretty. Let him defeat the city. It'll add inclusion. Let me get your solution. Climate change, big deal. Look up at China, it's real.
Yeah, it's about as real as Santa Claus, because China is the world's top emitter of greenhouse gases. So to say low-carbon China is real is just a bunch of nonsense.
New pattern for development. Continuous revitalization. More room for investment with homegrown innovation. We do it right, but hate is gonna hate. Hate is gonna hate.
Alright, that line alone is just more cringy than anything on YouTube's trending tab could ever be.
You see the different opportunities and possibilities. Nothing can stop me from being who I really wanna be. Benefits from your policy. Every day is a holiday. Fight along with young people and earning the young money. Work hard, party harder is my new motto. Living in this era feels like winning lotto.
One thing you'll notice in some of these songs is that they'll label the singer's ethnicity, such as for this guy they show he's a Uyghur, and for this chick they show that she's Mongolian, and that's because they want to make it look like they love China, and that it's this great place for them, despite the fact that Uyghurs are being put in concentration camps, and Mongolians in Inner Mongolia are being forced by the Chinese government to give up their culture.
While social security is a finished battle, don't worry my friend, you will find your footing and settle. Yeah, made it, China became old, China made it.
Just like how they made this abortion.
Wow, working so hard, but they keep on hating. Let's be real, no kidding, no finger pointing, can do well. Face it now, there's no need for no one blaming. Yeah.
Trouble is game changes, happy times don't wait. Yeah, dancing around the tree with waves.
One thing that I did want to mention that I picked up on was one of the women's flexes was, we train with weights. So they're inferring that, come to China, this is one of the reasons, because we have gyms. I'm pretty sure they have weights in fucking Uzbekistan. That's like me saying, oh yeah, come to England, we have mashed potato. And I hate to break it to the guys that made this song, and I also don't want to be a massive snob, but it's all fun and games with the technology and robots until they take all of your jobs. However, if what they're claiming is true, that all 1.4 billion people that live in China are not in poverty, which I highly doubt, then that is pretty impressive. I have to admit that. However, I do very much doubt that there is not one single homeless person in China, but you know, I might be wrong. Anyway, that's all I have to say about this shit. I'm sure Chaos will cover the rest, so subscribe to JZWag and peace.
China now become Chinese lead. Working hard ain't no joke. Jealousy
Alright, and that's the end of the song, and I honestly gotta say that I had more joy listening to A Fork Scratch a Plate. Gotta say, I'm glad I only have one more to listen to. I know I said I was gonna do 5, but I decided to get rid of the 5th one because this video's already long enough. Now surely this can't get any worse, right? Finally, we are on the last song, and this one is just the worst out of all these songs. Not just because it's cringe, like the rest of these songs, but it's also awful in every single way, including morally. Before I talk about what the song is, it's important to know the context to why this song was written in the first place. So here's the context. Now, it's no secret that the Chinese government discriminates against many people groups in China. People such as Tibetans, Christians, Falun Gong practitioners, Mongolians, and Uyghurs in China face discrimination from the Chinese government in some form. When it comes to the Uyghurs in particular, the Chinese government has been putting them in concentration camps in the province of Xinjiang, which is the Uyghur homeland. Along with putting them in concentration camps, recently China has been caught using the Uyghurs as slave labor to pick cotton in Xinjiang's cotton industry. As a result of this, many companies stopped buying cotton from Xinjiang, and some countries have even banned Xinjiang cotton, which really hit the Xinjiang cotton industry because it lost a ton of buyers. In response to people discovering the slave labor, China chose to deny it in 2 ways. One way was in a public address, and the other way was in the form of a song. Yeah, you heard me right. China made a song about Xinjiang cotton so people can think they don't use slave labor. And did it work? No, it didn't work at all. In fact, this song was so bad that they had to delete it off YouTube because at this point there's just too much evidence to the point where China cannot deny that they're using slave labor to pick cotton. Despite it being deleted, many people were able to re-upload the song and I was able to get a copy of it. Anyways, let's take a look at this dumpster fire.
I see dry and sunshine made of cotton. This work was good, people all in all bottom. You see jobs create, and they're fat and money made. Here is why, now I know how people just like to hate. Forced labor is none of Uyghurs.
Now, by showing machines to pick cotton and the stat, they are trying to convince you that they use machines to pick cotton. However, they literally contradict themselves by showing human labor in the video because, from what I've seen, it's very expensive to run those machines and human labor is more cheap. Also, Chinese stats are notorious for being BS. So this line is basically saying that there is slavery, but it's not Uyghurs. Even if that is the case, which it isn't, it's still fucked up because China is still admitting that they are using slaves, but they're just not Uyghurs in this music video. Okay, so looks like I was wrong that this video was made to deny that China is using slaves in Xinjiang because they admitted it in the video. All they're denying in this video is that the slaves they're using are Uyghurs.
By take the flight to his shore, poor families are getting fuel.
Yeah, I can imagine you save a lot of money with slave labor.
Another name for this belief is called loser.
And another name for people who write these songs is cunt.
I see something funny, gonna talk to 74 Sergeant Plantain's money. I saw forced laborers working so poorly.
Okay, so they know slavery ends poorly, but they're still using it. I mean, they admitted to using slave labor in the song.
Forced labor is none of Uyghurs.
Also, can't really throw shade at the US for a disgusting practice that it used to do over 150 years ago when you're doing it yourself today.
Just start imagining. You know what it is, but choose the last thing you wanna say.
Kind of ironic this song is talking about truth, considering this is the same country that covers up the truth all the time.
But only one, you just can't face up.
Yeah, try telling that to people who live in Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, the Philippines, Indonesia, Australia, Malaysia, Singapore, Brunei, Vietnam, India, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, and the United States, and many more countries that China wants peace.
Whatever again, it's anti-police, no fear for future, and listen to this, to eradicate oxygen.
Okay, so China is fine with us criticizing them for using slaves, but then why did they make this song in the first place? Oh wait, I know why, they're just trying to make it look like they don't care when in reality China does, cause no one wants to buy their cotton anymore. Yeah.
That's what I mean, so real, no fake. Welcome to my space. I see dry and sunshine made of cotton.
Wow, it's not like I can buy cotton from India or anywhere else.
Workless good, people all in all bottom. You see jobs create, and they're fat, money 妹。
Yeah, you do usually have more money when the government is giving you slaves to pick cotton.
You were fine. Now I know I shouldn't care how people hate.
Alright, and that's the end of the video, and it was garbage.
There's a big surprise!
And to summarize it, this entire song is just China admitting to having slave labor and that they don't care about what people think in regards to them using slave labor. You know, I should be surprised that China is okay with slavery, but then again, this is the same country that worships Mao Zedong, and if you don't know who Mao Zedong is, I'll have that creepy reading tell you who that is, because my brain is too fucking dead from listening to this shit at this point to be able to tell you who he is, so take it away, creepy.
Thank you, Chaos. Mao Zedong, I'm hoping I pronounced that right, was the founder of the People's Republic of China, and considered to be one of the worst dictatorships in human history by countries outside of China's borders. Not that you should be comparing state-sponsored human atrocities, but the fact is that yeah, some horrible things happened. Under Mao's reign, at the lowest, 40 million people died, and at the highest, 80 million people died. The reason for this was due to policies that had been implemented by China's chairman. One of those policies being the Great Leap Forward, which had caused the biggest famine in history to occur in China, in which most historians lowballed the number to be roughly 15 million people, with some going as far to claim as 45 million people died as a result of starvation, punishments, angering officials that handed out food, and the government not giving their people enough food to survive in the first place. According to government records, in one case, 13 children were begging an official for some food, and because of this annoying behavior from starving children, the officials decided to take them up a mountain and made these kids stay on that mountain until they died of exposure. Just, wow, let that sink in for a minute. When it came to punishments people faced, according to the government records, people experiencing such as being beaten to death, burned alive, drowned, being buried alive. In fact, one Chinese official forced a child's parents to kill their child by making them bury their child alive. Many of these punishments were given out to people if they did things like having extra food or keeping extra food so that they can survive. In order to survive, many people had to eat their family pets or commit cannibalism, such as in one case talked about in the Book of Tombstone, in which one of the government records had talked about a case where a child killed his brother so that he could eat them because he was starving. Now, you would think that a leader, after hearing reports that horrific and terrible, would want to get their people food. However, instead of doing that, Mao thought it would be more important to look better in front of the other countries, so he started to export lots of grain to other nations to make it look like that China was well fed, and so that it looked like his policies were working. He didn't stop this policy until 1961. Then there was the 100 Flowers campaign, which killed many people who criticized him and his policies, and especially as someone who lives in the United States and believes in things like freedom of speech, I'm sure I would have been black-bagged if I lived back then. The ones that weren't killed were either thrown in prison or humiliated in public, which is a practice that sometimes is even seen today. Finally, there was the Cultural Revolution, which managed to convince a group of students via the manipulation through his cult of personality to seek out anyone who spoke against the Communist Party. And as a result, they killed their professors they had that spoke against his policies, just so that he could make an example out of them. Along with murdering their professors, the Red Guard would sometimes partake in, I shit you not, cannibalism in a ritualistic act known as a flesh banquet. I looked it up shortly before reading this, and yeah, that's a thing. His cult of personality was so strong that when Mao gave the women he cheated on his wife with STDs, they would be honored because they got it from Chairman Mao. He also ordered his Red Guard to destroy traditional Chinese statues and artwork, some of which were thousands of years old, because to him it was a symbol of the bourgeoisie. I can't pronounce that right, but you know what I mean. Not even the Great Wall was safe during this period because Mao encouraged workers to tear it down when the country was low on building supplies. His cult of personality was so strong that today Mao is seen as a hero in China. Chinese schools ignore all the horrible things he did as chairman and make him look like the great savior of the Chinese people. Many government buildings and households still have his portrait in them. He is even on money in China, despite the fact that so many people died under his evil and cruel regime. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that China is the only country that has ever done horrible things in the past, even back in its day. But even so, when they're actively trying to suppress information related to this, and, you know, you look at anything going on with China and current events, it feels like the, you know, echoes of the past are kind of repeating, and it's because no one's learning from that history. Considering all I can do is talk about it, that's what I'm gonna do. Anyway, end of the video, or back to the chaos. I'm gonna go now.
Thank you, Creepy. So yeah, considering that China still has a boner for Mao, even after all the horrible things he's done, I'm not surprised that they were willing to make a music video confirming that they had slave labor in China. In conclusion, C-pop is just not only cringe, but just bad. Anyways, guys, I have been RingManofChaos, and I will see you all. And actually, wait, no, I have a couple of things to say before I end this video off. For one, please hit that subscribe button because I'm trying to get to 10K, and also hit that like button because, you know, it'll help the video in the algorithm. Also, I got a Patreon if you want to donate to that in the description. I also got a Discord server, which will be in the description. And I would just like to give a big thank you to ThatCreepyReading and JZWag for being in this video. It means a lot that you guys were in it. I'll leave your channels in the description so people can go sub to them, which you guys should go sub to them. They both make good content. Anyways, guys, I have been RingManofChaos, and I am gonna, I don't know, jerk off or whatever, I don't know.